Good evening and welcome to the Amateur Football Unhinged. That's it. I literally forgot myself. Welcome to the. I literally forgot what welcome to the Amateur Footballer Unhinged show. It's because I'm trying to find the intro as well. Hey, welcome. Hope everyone is well on this beautiful Sunday. My name is Fabrice, one of the best grassroots players you will ever witness. Thank you everyone for joining. Today we have Barry from Ultimate Sports Network. Thank you so much. We have Laura as well, a fanatical West Ham and grassroots fan, and also an adopted charcoal ambassador as well.
I'm a best ex.
we have Coach Barry, founder of Independent FC, and also on either side of Barry we have Johan and we have Sharif from Suns United London. How is everyone this beautiful Sunday?
Rainy, thundery Sunday.
Good, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, everyone good?
Yeah,
good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Feeling well, thank you.
Good evening to Jack. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you very, very much. And again, if you have any questions, comments, please put them in the chat. Please like, subscribe, follow everyone on this feed. And again, if there's any questions that you guys want to know about the individuals on screen right now, please DM me and I will literally give you all of the detail. Again, this kind of first part is all about Suns United and literally what Suns stands for. But rather than me kind of talking, Johan and Sharif, thank you again for coming on. Could you please tell the viewers out there what Suns is about, and if you don't mind as well, to possibly even talk about your journey with Suns. And I'll start with Sharif first.
thought you would have went straight for Johan. I think he might be suffering intermittent connection issues. So based on that, I'll probably kickstart off. So Suns is the leading stillbirth and neonatal death society charity, which was established to help support bereaved families who have endured baby loss by way of miscarriage, stillbirth, neonatal death, whether before, during, or shortly after birth, and also SIDS, which is the sudden infant death syndrome, which unfortunately many people do kind of suffer. Now, statistically, it shows that 1 in 4 families will experience and go through baby loss. And I think if we kind of look really down to the reality of things, typically and historically, men are often forgotten about when it comes to the loss of a child, and in some cases, unfortunately, children. And I say children because there are many cases out there whereby more than one child has been lost by whichever means or form, shape, or manner it was. And because men have always often been forgotten about, I think this charity was set up back in 2017 when the actual founder of the Suns United movement. So to get a kind of clearer picture on this, so you've got Suns, which is a leading stillbirth and neonatal death society charity, but as a kind of upshoot of that and as a branch activity of Suns charity is something called the Suns United. Now, Suns United is a movement, but predominantly tailored and targeted towards the audience of sport. So that was originally founded by Bobby Allen back in 2017 when he suffered loss by way of stillbirth his baby girl Neve, and he founded the first ever Suns United team, which is Suns United Northampton, so out in Northamptonshire as it were. And very similar to him, at that time, he kind of really looked at the kind of avenues and channels and vehicles that may be available to men to facilitate this way of grief. And unfortunately, at that time, there wasn't. And historically, there really isn't anything, whether it's now, prior, or forthcoming. So he set up the first Suns United team across the whole of UK, which is Suns United Northampton. Here we are sort of 4 years on, and disseminated across the whole of the UK are multiple Suns United teams in excess of about 20 as we speak now. So any major city, town, there's a Suns United team. But funny enough, London being the biggest city and the most populated city, there was never a London team. And that's when Mr. Johan Hargreaves, the founder of the Sands United London team, came across. As great as it is, of course, it also means that there's a horrific and tragic story behind it, because that means Johan and his family had to endure such a horrible kind of loss that I think you would even wish upon your worst enemy. And he came on board in the kind of early parts of 2019, kind of the year prior, suffering loss, which I think probably best for Johan to go through his own story.
Johan's gone.
He's having issues.
Well, I think Tabriz is speaking on mute as well.
He's on mute. Yeah, T, you're on mute.
Okay, sorry, apologies. Yeah, I'm literally. I think we've got internet issues with.
Sure thing. I will continue to proceed if you wish.
Yeah. So and I think I can't remember if it was you or someone said about like the team itself. It's a club that no one really wants to be part of.
Sure thing, yeah. It's definitely something that no one wants to be part of. Kind of following on from that, when Johan and his family went through stillbirth, so they had a stillbirth baby girl called Hope back in 2018, July to be specific. A year later, he then decided in 2019 it's now time to have a Sands United London team, or London branch as it were, which I think definitely coincides with the amount of people that are populated within London. London is the most populated city, but there's not a London team. It just doesn't make sense. So, thankfully, Johan kind of came on board to get that created and moving for the London team. Now, as great as it sounds that there's a support system out there, and as amazing as it is that people can channel their emotions both on and off the pitch, it's also extremely devastating that there has to be dads out there who go through this loss. Now, back when Johan Hargreaves established this in the former part of 2019, it was just himself and another father, if I remember correctly at that point. We are now kind of shy of 2 years in, and we're just sitting shy of 50 members. Now, from basically one, i.e. being the founder, to 50, and that's a big 50, nearly shy of 50. It's amazing to see how far Sands United London have come. But ultimately as well, what that shows is that 50-odd dads have gone through such horrific, tragic, and heartbreaking experiences. Now, it's bittersweet that such a club has to exist, and simultaneously, it's an inclusive club that no one ever wishes to be a part of. But ultimately, it does exist, and it probably will always exist, because every day as we speak, there are men and fathers out there who are going through loss. And loss is subjective, not just in the form, shape, and manner that which I described as miscarriage, stillbirth, neonatal, or SIDS. Being affected could be indirectly as well. And what I mean by that is, being part of this group is an educational piece. I'm a strong believer that every day is a school day, you learn something new, right? And I've come to learn that grief presents itself in different ways and manners. And that just because the father and the mother are the ones who directly suffer the loss does not mean that your sibling, does not mean that your uncle, your aunties, your grandmothers, and everyone else within your family are not affected from it as well. It's just that the level of support they may require, or the level of support that they seek, might not be right for them within Sands United London, but can potentially be sought elsewhere and externally. But from a kind of Sands United London perspective, as much as the Sands United movement was created to be kind of connected with the love of football, support is subjective. And what I mean by that is the people within our group, not all of them are there actually for football. Some people have never touched football in their life. Some people have never actually come down to a game and played with us or even watched, because their level of support is deemed subjective based on their individual case-by-case basis. I may like to get on the pitch and channel my emotion on the pitch and play football, but the individual next to me might not be like that. He might want to receive a different level of support, which is why in the Sands United movement, but most importantly within Sands United London, football is secondary. It's not the primary focus, it's the secondary focus. And we have to make sure that message is not misconstrued, because if that message becomes misconstrued, we just become like another other club or another grassroots team on social media, and we don't want to be like that. We could be like that, but we don't want to be. There's always an avenue, a platform to become like that. But the ethos, the values, and the disciplines behind it is totally different. We have to make sure that the message is not misconstrued, and make sure that we can actually push out the correct message so that it reaches the far and wide community, to ensure that the men and fathers know that, one, we exist, which is the key thing. Because if you don't know that we exist, then how can we possibly help you?
Yeah.
Number two, we need to also get the message out there for people to know what we exist for. So, i.e., what is our level of support that we kind of push out there and cascade. And three, even if this is not right for you, potentially might be right for someone else. So how can you help us propel that even further? And then most importantly, if you are a bereaved man or father who has endured any form of baby loss, by which way I mentioned prematurely in this conversation is, can we help you? And how can we help you? So it's having an open door policy, but that's never going to work without getting the message out there. And we live in a time where social media is absolutely prevalent. So being on calls like this with yourself and many others is the way that we can help get that message as far as wide as possible.
Yeah, cool. Well said. Barry from the Ultimate Soccer, Sports Network. I'd love you to start the Q&A session.
Sharif, I know you recently joined my network on the Ultimate Sports Network and the Ultimate Football Network. How are you finding that? Joining that, as you find that it helps you as you go along, are you finding it you're making good connections? How do you think I can improve it, or how do you think it can help Sands?
Yeah, kind of first things first, before I answer that question, I just want to extend my gratitude to yourself, most importantly, for allowing me to be a part of that network and kind of joining that group and community of people in and around of London and UK, because I think without it, it wouldn't help me get over that kind of first hurdle, which is making sure that we can get the message out there. It's been very beneficial since I joined, kind of earlier part of this week, as it were, and since then a lot of people have kind of reached out to me, whether it be on the platform or kind of externally through social media. So a massive thank you to them first. And then in regards to your question, I think I could probably go on until I go blue in the face, right? And the honest answer is it's been extremely beneficial by way of networking, which is ultimately what it's all about, right? I think even us being on call currently is all about networking. Yes, there might be a series of questions which are sort of distributed across time, but ultimately it's also part of connecting and networking. So it's been beneficial in that sense. The second point I probably touch on is how key it is that we break barriers and break taboos. Now, some of you may be wondering what I mean by that is, what whenever you join a kind of organization, whether it's joining a new job, you just become an employee of a new company, or whether you're starting somewhere new, you always seem as the new guy, the newbie, the new guy, and that's the honest truth. Now, how do you overcome across that hurdle? Now, quite thankfully, Barry plays more than a role of just referring and recommending you. Barry just doesn't do the kind of refer and recommend you and he disappears. What he does, he refers you, recommends you, kind of gets you to introduce you to the group, and he's consistent, and he makes sure that he stays in consistent contact with you. So that helps as well. You're not just an unfamiliar face. People kind of buy into that, and ultimately, as much as outside of work and both in work, the vast majority of people kind of buy based on trustworthiness, transparency, and how well you are as a kind of people's manager. And I think the last point to kind of touch on that is how beneficial it's been for Sands United London. Now, since then, connected with quite a few people, probably more than my hand could bear. So we're talking in excess of 10 people. Now, as great as that is, it feels like 7 days a week is never enough, and 365 days of the year is still never enough. Now, it's how can we squeeze enough time and dates in the calendar to potentially get matches organized with these people, meet up with them, and get put in front of the right people who can help disseminate that message across. So overall, it's been nothing but significant levels of love. It's been great levels of spirit, and most importantly, the people in there have great levels of personality, characters, and I'm sure with the support of everyone here, most important to Brice and Barry, they can help take that to the next level. So a massive thank you to you all, and most important to Brice and Barry for helping us get that message as far and wide as possible.
Yeah, you're welcome. I just want
to Sharif, that's good to hear.
Before we probably go to Johan, I want to welcome Nana to the show. He's a referee, level 5, and a decent footballer. Not as good as me, but hey,
Hey, Nana.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, everyone's good. Johan, Sharif spoke very eloquently and highly in terms of what you've done for Sands United London. Again, what has the football team and the kind of group of men done for you regarding confidence, mental and physical health. I'd love to get your story.
Yeah, no, thank you. And really, I think I'm okay with that, but yeah, it is what it is. But no, thank you again. And yes, setting up the team in memory of my daughter, who passed away in 20. Like for me personally, I know that I needed support and counselling at the time. I got some bravado, but I didn't. And 2 years down the line, having people who've gone through similar, like I would wish I had time, and it's taken 2 years to kind of get it set up, and people are joining, and really helped me talk about my situation and like my daughter to people, and the same sentiment is shared. I'm sure. United.
So sorry, that line is really, really bad. I don't know. I couldn't hear a lot regarding.
Can't hear all clear either. I can't hear all the words.
No.
Yeah, I'm really sorry.
Okay.
Has he frozen? Johan,
Hi,
are you there? Oh, he's gone. Unfortunately. I mean, again, I think Johan's internet connection is like how he plays, very slow. But no, I mean, Laura, if you could have kind of got any kind of questions for like Sharif.
Hi, Sharif. So obviously I first heard about you guys through the event you did with James at the Charcoal, and it was really successful, as we all know. So you raised a lot of money through that day. So what do you actually do when you get money like that? What do you use it for, and how does it help you guys? What do you do with it?
Yeah, thank you for the question. A great question, and I'm sure it's very important because I'm sure there's many people that like to know. So the first things first, apart from the fact that the money is actually it's kind of contingent based on it, but if we base it on what the money that was raised on the event, what that money is used for. So as we're connected to the charity SANS, which is obviously a leading stillbirth and neonatal deaf society charity, as a kind of offshoot, we have SANS United London. So what we use that money for is kind of four main important things, from being completely honest and transparent with you. The first is to ensure the continuous running of the club. Now, what I mean by that is, yes, we're not an official setup of a club by way of us being in a league. So we're not in the actual league. So if whoever's listening on this call, or whether it's now or kind of in the forthcoming days or what have you, we're not actually in a league. So we don't actually play league games, which is always great for us because ultimately we have 20, 30 odd dads who actually play football out of the kind of 50. And I guess it just works best for them in terms of commitments, not to actually be in a league religiously. So the continuous run of the club allows us to kind of have the money to use that. And the continuous run of the club is down into the purchasing of the kit. So because we're not in a league, we're not sponsored, nor do we receive any funding, we have to fund our own kits. So we have to source them and fund our own kits, which is obviously not cheap, as everyone knows, especially when your kit is branded by Nike, which is probably one of the most expensive brands you can have out. Correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, they're not cheap. So the money goes towards the kit. Yeah. And for those people that know, we only use the home kit, the orange kit. And every single one of our pictures you've probably seen online, or where we've come down to the game, we only have the orange kit, because from a financial perspective, it probably wouldn't be cost efficient currently now as we speak to have both home and away kit, because it costs a lot of money. And you have to also understand that, the members, i.e. the brief dads of the group, they're in situations where unfortunately not all of them are in great financial situations to be able to afford the kit. So having that money, which kind of allows to get the kit going, and most people have the kit for the kit, as it were. The second thing is, for any club, any team, whether officially established, charity team, grassroots, to play a game you need to have a pitch, and to have a pitch you need to have officials officiating it. And as we all know, they're not cheap as well. It costs a lot of money to have them. It could be a simple pitch, whether it be in the south of London or the north of London, could cost anything between £150 for the 90 minutes up to £350 for the 90 minutes. So it is a lot of money. And if you kind of break that down, just within kind of 10 games, you probably spent nearly £3,000 on pitches. And that's a lot of money that's gone, and the officials, as it were. So you continue to plug from that aspect. The third one is, so as new dads come on board, there's kind of, to a certain degree, there's like a registration process that goes through behind the scenes that are conducted with, Johan, myself, and Sans from a HQ perspective. Now, to get them on board and registered is something that also we have to kind of put money towards from more of kind of insurance purpose, as it were, to make sure that they're officially registered and they exist, so that Joe Blogs is known within Sans United London and also Sans ultimately as it goes. And I think that the kind of last bit where the money goes to is, once everything is kind of collated from a kind of money and financial perspective, and everything is kind of given its due rights, i.e. the official costs, the pitch costs, the kit costs, and all the logistics, i.e. the buying of the balls. Because aside from just paying for the pitch on match days, we also train midweek. We train in the Power League, and Power Leagues are quite expensive as well. Yet again, everything comes with money. I think the only thing in life that's free, I think, is love. That's priceless, right? But I could be wrong there as well. Love's a bit expensive, actually. So yeah, the paying of the Power League pitch is quite expensive itself too. So that costs something. But kind of once the end of the financial year has come, whatever's left then goes back to Sans, the actual charity, and they use that for R&D. So R&D is research and development. So they use that all for the R&D resources to ensure that the right level of due diligence has gone out to conduct surveys and kind of workshops and events to ensure that people out there, whether it be a man, father, bereaved families, get the right level of attention and nurturing they require.
Okay. Coach Barry.
So, Reece, before you go to Barry, could I say, I don't know a lot about Sans. I just read a little bit, but I just wanted to let Sharif know that if ever you need a referee to do one of these games, if I know in advance, I'm happy to do it for free.
Oh wow!
To be able to save you guys money, or find someone who would be able to help you for free. So just let us know. I mean, I can come with my own balls and that. So just anything to, keep the cost down.
This is also the whole concept about charity. When charity is connected and meets the beautiful love of sport and football, you get people like Nana who are just an offshoot of how the beauty of sport and charity. Thank you very much. If you could kindly do a favor and potentially converse with Tabrice, or even reach out to us on social media, and we can get some communication details exchanged so we can take it further. That would be amazing.
No, yeah.
Everything.
I think he's on the network.
Yeah, Nana's on Telegram. Nana's on the network.
There's so much networks going on at the moment. Which one is it?
That's very true.
Yeah. No. Again, big. Again, Nana. Thank you for that. Again,
yes,
Nana's
a massive thanks. I want to extend my thanks in advance. Whether you ever get opportunity or not, I just want to thank him. I kind of extend my thanks in advance for the thought. The famous saying, it's a thought that counts, right? So whether you ever officiate any of our games, regardless whether you attend, whether you officiate or even watch, a massive thank you as well for your generosity and kindness in offering your service as well. On behalf of everyone,
my absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much.
It's the least I can do.
And Nana, we have a question from a viewer, but we're going to answer that later on. Coach Barry, we'd kind of love to get a question from you.
Well, my question's always a little bit different. My question, like Sharif, love the way you speak, love the way you're like an ambassador for the Suns. But my question is, as what you've gone through and people come in and experience, do some of you take up the role like as mentors or counselors and gone on like that with the new people coming in, or do you just stay in Sans United? Because the way you put yourself across, you could easily mentor or counsel someone who's going through your experience of the bereavement and what you've gone through. Are there people within there who move on and get into the other side, not the sport, but actually help other people who just had the bereavement? Because that is crucial. I know people who've been through certain bereavement and think there's no one to go to. So your organization is perfect for some. And the second part of my question is, how does your family get involved? And has it helped also with your family, what you're going through? You found some sort of release and somewhere where you could go. Does it help? Did it help the whole of your family as well, just by you finding something to get relief.
Thank you very much for both of your questions. Very important and crucial. I think it's something that's unfortunately not asked quite a lot. So thank you. In respect to your first question, so now the honest truth is, across the UK, as I mentioned, there's in excess of about 20 SANS United teams up and down the country. Now, thankfully, SANS, the charity, have kindly taken on the responsibility of kind of distributing regional mental health wellbeing officers across the SANS United team. So every kind of SANS United team more or less has a mental health wellbeing officer, and if not, then they've got a kind of appointed, as it were, welfare officer. Now, this welfare officer, their role is to ensure that they conduct the right level of due diligence upon each member and individual within the team, because ultimately, we all have experienced the same pain, just with a different name, and that's the honest truth. We've all got a different name attached and associated with our loss. Now, that welfare officer ensures that the individuals within the group, i.e. the bereaved fathers, are right mental health state, as it were, ensuring that they're kind of getting what they want out of the SANS United London, as we're talking about SANS United London team, but SANS United movement as a whole. Most importantly, that if they have any kind of questions, queries, worries, or want someone to talk to, they can always go upon that welfare officer. And then most importantly, they have the direct contact to the kind of internal SANS helpline, where they can speak confidentially to anyone who's suffering any sort of loss.
Sharif, sorry to cut you, but I know this about welfare, but I'm saying as you and people within your organization, in your team and stuff, sometimes it takes someone who can relate to that person completely different from someone who's just been trained. It's a different way. The way I'm speaking with you and talking to you, I know your approach is different. I've spoken to counsellors and stuff, and welfare officers. I'm a welfare officer, but sometimes it takes someone like yourself to speak to someone in bereavement, and have that kind of relationship.
Yeah.
It's a different sort of relate than just the official way of relating to someone.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm trying to get across the way.
Well, you know what? The honest truth is, because every single person in the group is a bereaved dad, we automatically inherit that relatability factor.
Yeah.
So everyone automatically gets along and knows exactly what the person to his left and his right has endured and suffered. So from that aspect, there's a level of transparency, there's a level of honesty, and most important, there's a level of reliability. The good thing is that there's no obligation or commitment upon any individual in the group to disclose anything they've gone through if they wish to not do so, if they're not comfortable. Because the honest truth is, it's very sensitive. You know, some people have gone through loss within the last 12, 18 months during a pandemic. So you can imagine how hard and tough it's been for them, not having any contact with families or friends. Some people have gone through loss within the last few years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. The tenure of loss within our group, you know, goes as far back as 20 years ago. You know, there's people in there who have suffered loss many moons ago, probably in respect to some of us, probably before some of us were even born. So, you know, that level of loss is there. In regards to whether they feel comfortable, the best way to put it is, if people didn't feel comfortable, they would not have shared their story. You know, everyone has kind of joined us, whether it be recently or whether they've been the kind of predecessors of the group, as it were, they've all shared their stories in their own time. You're not obligated to, but if you feel like it's right and ready for you, you know, you can share your grief and your story. I think another good thing to kind of add is that positively, going back to kind of SANS, everyone has shared their individual time, experience, and duration when the group has been positive in terms of the kind of surveys and kind of feedbacks they give. So from that aspect, we can say it's positive. Now, for myself, I think one thing is always missing. Whenever we talk about others, we give so much of our time, our soul, blood, sweat, and tears to everyone else. How often do we check in on ourselves? You know, our mental health deserves the right level of attention as much as the individual to your right and your left deserves, right? Now, myself, great question. Let's put it this way. Mental health is as important as anything else, right? And we live in a time when mental health is prevalent, and that if you don't look after your mental health, then you won't look after the main organ of the soul, right? I think if I look back to where I was and kind of, if I conglomerate your first question with your second question, I found out about SANS charity at the hospital when our son passed away, when we suffered stillbirth. But at that point, I just knew about the charity. At that point, I didn't know about SANS United London. And I think, as much as I say, you know, finally, with women, you can't live with them, you can't live without them, right? Let's put it that way. But as much as sometimes it's more might be leaning more to the side that you can't live with them. You can't live without them as well, because without my missus, without my wife being kind of my backbone and pushing me forward and and making me aware about Sands United London existed, I wouldn't be in this position I am in today. I probably wouldn't be having this conversation with you guys. She was the one that pushed me, encouraged me, and said, look, you've got a passion for football, you've got a passion for sport, you enjoy doing it. Why don't you try to merge and marry the two together? Channel your emotion and the passion on the pitch by being amongst a group of bereaved fathers who have suffered the same exact loss that you suffered with your son, whether it be their sons or their daughters. So we kind of made the two congruent to each other, as it were. So she's been a massive help and support and tool in this. Probably so much so that I'm sure she's pulling out her hair, probably regretting putting me in contact with them, because I spend probably more time with the I'm sure I'm on the phone to Johan and everyone else more than I'm on the phone to her. So that's probably the side that she's a bit niggly about. But I always say, it's short-term loss, long-term gain. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be on the phone to them. So if anyone's at loss here, you are. But yeah, that's the kind of honest answer. And I think the good thing about it that I like overall, apart from the football aspect, is Sands United London / Sands United movement is here to break the silence of grieving fathers. Now, the honest truth is, men, we don't talk about these things. It's a taboo. Day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, we say that it's a taboo, that we need to eradicate this taboo, we need to break the norm. But it never gets broken. It just carries on. It's a continuous chain and cycle of a negative reaction. It's like two negative magnets trying to connect together, and it's absolutely bad for the mental health. And most importantly, it's detrimental for the heart. The heart is as important as the brain is. You follow your heart, but you take your brain with you. It can't be the other way around.
But Sharif, a lot of people do not know how to release trauma. People, and when you mention about yourself, a lot of people don't know about self-reflection and things like that. So it's very difficult for a lot of people because they don't know how to deal with those things. So they keep you carry it. And a lot of people carry a lot of the trauma all the way to their death, sadly to say. Unless you're going to do your self-reflection, unless you start doing things that get rid of trauma. And like you said, it does damage the heart. Holding on to things do damage the heart. What are you saying?
It's very unfortunate because, kind of typically and statistically within men tend to suppress their emotions as opposed to expressing their emotions, when it should be the other way around. Suppressing is a sign of weakness, not expressing. We need to be at a stage in our lives across men. And it's something I say all the time. As men, we can either be a part of the problem or we can be a part of the solution. You've got to pick. Are you going to continue to be a part of the problem, or are you going to continue to be part of the solution? Now, personally, and this is just kind of from my experience of what I've seen and gone through and heard. Personally, I believe that there's kind of many factors in kind of which highlight the difficulty of men kind of expressing their emotions. And what I've kind of identified to see that some of these vary between like society taboos, self-esteem and pride, culture and many other things. In some sort of cultures, as it were, in some taboos, it's deemed abnormal to be normal. And what I mean by that is kind of displaying emotions, which of course is innate within us all, is kind of portrayed as foreign. And in some cases you feel alienated, don't you? And because we're surrounded by so many society taboos, we continue to kind of drive this forward, unfortunately. And then it gets to a point, we start feeling like prisoners within our own selves. Why should you be a prisoner within your own head or within your own heart? And yes, I know support is subjective on an individual case-by-case basis, but just because you believe that no one else can heal your inner pain doesn't mean that you can, should, or even need to do it alone. And yes, the harsh reality is sometimes it never gets easier, you just get stronger. And when I think about it, especially within the kind of Sands United London group and the wider kind of Sands United movement, as it were, sometimes the strongest people are those who win battles that you know nothing about. And it's so unfortunate because those are the people that are left alone. Those are the people that are alienated. And considering that we live in a time where there's so much access to resources, to tools, to counselors, to mental health supporters, to people who are human just like me and you are, who are going through the same thing, especially within Sands United London, we need to make sure that we do our utmost best to look after our mental health, because it's crucial, it's imperative, and it deserves the right level of attention that the person to your right and left deserves. Sometimes we give the right level of attention to things that don't matter as important. If we put it on a scale of important, as much as we need food to survive, as much as we may need some water to drink to survive, sometimes we put the desire of food, the desire of drinks, the desire of everything else beyond it, more important than our mental health. We'd rather spend so much time satisfying our stomachs or satisfying what's in our bank accounts than looking after our own mental health. And I always say, why would anyone want to be the richest man in the graveyard? It doesn't make sense. You take that to your graveyard, but within inside your head, how rich are you inside your head and your brain?
Yeah, no, facts.
What kind of things we take with them?
Yeah, that's true. Facts.
Well said, Sharif.
No, very well said. Very well said. Nana, I would love to get your question, please.
Can't hear you, Nana.
Sorry. Yeah. No, let it go around. I'll get my question to you guys.
Okay. All right. So, in terms of my own experience, and I don't know if it's a question or comment. I don't know. So of course, Sharif, I met you at the Charcoal Celebrity Game, and hey, it's my first celebrity game. I didn't really know what to expect, and of course, I interviewed yourself and Johan before, and I played, and I actually know one of your players, Jack, as well. And playing was one thing. The result and the score didn't really, at that present moment in time, didn't really compute to me. And when the penalty was given and whatnot, and when your captain, I believe, scored, personally, I didn't really think anything of it apart from, just kind of making sure that you guys got on the score sheet. And then, of course, when afterwards, I'll be absolutely real with you. I literally was holding back the tears when everyone kind of came up to me and said, really, thank you for doing that. I mean, to me, it could have been anyone. And speaking to you, Sharif, afterwards, there was a reason why that particular player took the penalty and scored, because I believe it was either the anniversary or birthday of the angel. That's kind of something that really stuck with me, because you call everyone's child an angel, so that stuck with me. And I did a video afterwards reflecting on the whole game, and I cried. I cried online because I can't imagine my life continuing if I lost any of my kids. If I lost anyone, I would find it difficult. Even like now, just thinking about it makes me just want to kind of, kind of just, it's kind of very hard for me to kind of just feel that life continues, or feel that my life is worth living. So playing football for you and also for your other guys, how has that bonded the team? And again, on a kind of personal level, and again, you don't have to answer, but I mean, how, obviously, okay, how has playing football helped the dads together in terms of communicating and talking about their own individual journeys?
Yeah, it's a great question. Thank you very much for asking. Kind of prematurely mentioned at the beginning of the conversation that football is kind of secondary. As much as it may seem insignificant for some, it's quite significant for some. And the reason why I say that is ultimately upon match day or even upon training day, the dads who come together are all united for one reason and one reason only, which of course for some is a very negative and heartbreaking reason. Everyone that's there has suffered loss, which is of course very unfortunate. And like I said, you will never wish it upon your worst enemy. For those people who have children of their own, very similar to what you just said now, it's like having something so beloved to you taken away from you, right? And as much as we don't have control over that, sometimes things are out of our capabilities and control. Imagine it being snatched from you. So when we're standing side by side, sometimes standing silently beside the next person to your right and to your left can sometimes be the best gift that you can give one another. And so that's kind of number one. Another thing is, which may seem very small and kind of minor to some, but for us, it's probably one of the best moments we ever share on the pitch from the beginning to the end of the 90 minutes is that 1 minute silence around the center circle. And when you're kind of standing around that 1 minute silence around the center circle, apart from the obvious, which is, you know, the whole arena, the whole ground, the whole stadium is quiet, that quietness is actually loud. And what I mean by that is sometimes silence is one of the loudest things that can ever occur, because you feel like everyone's connected at that point. It's as if you can hear everyone's feelings, everyone's talking to each other, because you know that even though you're representing the kit that you're wearing, the Sands United London, you know that it goes further than that, because underneath that crest, that badge, you've got the name of your baby or your babies embroidered there. So you know that that's who you're representing and playing. Then you know, most importantly as well, regardless of the final score, very similar to what you said, regardless of the final score, if we do score, we get an opportunity to score, the kind of embrace and love that individuals receive, it's more than just the fact that they scored. It's more about the proud moment that they've made. You know, if we kind of, you know, go back to and revert back to the point that you mentioned of the Charcoal Vets and Celebrity game which took part on Sunday the 29th of August 2021, obviously as it coincides with the British Gregorian calendar time, just in case you've got any international people who are listening and watching. We obviously had that game with the celebrities then, which I think to this day a lot of us are quite still trying to calculate how it became a penalty, but that's a conversation for
Listen,
yeah. I think that was no one else that way.
It was a blatant push. It was a blatant push.
It was. I think that should be a separate YouTube live. We'll take that matter on a different day. Nevertheless, I think that, similar to what I said, the meaning, the intent, and the thought behind it is what kind of provided an extra level of spirit, love, and knowing the reason why you did it. It's not every day you get a defender pull off a David De Gea save, right? So even after you committed that offense,
damn.
Even after you committed that offense, Nick had the opportunity to take the penalty. Someone really enjoying himself.
You're playing in the wrong position.
Yeah.
Goalkeeper.
I've never jumped so high in my life.
I wish you not got a still of that. It's like you're like a Harlem Globetrotter.
I think he's got a photo on his Instagram.
Yes.
And then so even after you committed that open offence, that crime, as it were. So even after you committed that offence, Nick, you provided Nick with the opportunity to take a penalty, and thankfully he converted such a beautiful penalty. Not only was he applauded by all the spectators, but even the opposition, the Charcoal and the celebrities, because it was such a moment. He jumped upon his saddle and he made ways down the side of the pitch as he ran, and we all ran to him, not just because he scored, because we knew how much he meant to him on that day, on the weekend anniversary of his fallen baby, unfortunately, Eleni. So it meant more. The goal meant more to him than it meant to everyone else, and it's having that opportunity to do that. I personally, and correct me if I'm wrong, I personally don't know any club out there, whether official club, established, charity, grassroots, Sunday league, non-Sunday league, National League, non-league, Premier League, Champions League, whatever sort of league they may be associated to. I don't know any club out there that has a concept and meaning behind it than Sands United, whereby your baby's name is embroidered on the crest, so it's what you kind of honor and play for. When also on top of that you have a reason to be playing. You're not just playing because you want to play and you're looking to get signed a professional contract into a club. And most importantly, whenever you play, whether it's prior to kickoff or post kickoff, the reason why you stepped on that pitch and the reason why you stepped off that pitch is the same reason why you're all wearing the same kit color there. I don't know any team out there that can offer that. And that's probably the reason, if not the main reason, why I'm still here. I'm sure many of us could, and when I say many of us, I'm talking about, all the individuals within our group, our Sands United London group. I'm sure many of the bereaved fathers within our group could easily go and find another club to play with, to kind of get their football fix, as it were. But they're still there. And we have people, I think what's so amazing about it, and sometimes I can still feel slightly bamboozled, shocked, but most importantly, happy with a sense of gratitude, is that we have individuals who join our group, our team, who are from all different walks of life. Some people from different corporate partners. We have people in our in our football team, in our group, who obviously bereaved fathers as well, but they come from massive organizations, big, well-established organizations in regards to kind of day job. We have people in our group who are from the Metropolitan Police. Now, for those people who may not be aware, the Metropolitan Police actually have a football team of their own. So they could have joined a well-established football team, be part of a league, potentially maybe even make some money out of it, be a face of a big team and be on a greater platform, a wider scale. But they decided to join us, not only because they're bereaved, because they want to be part of our cause. They always say our movement is greater than being part of the movement of their own. And that's just an example. We've got people on there who are from the London Fire Brigade. So in a nutshell, we have people who are part of our group, and their day job, their occupation is that they serve and work within the kind of emergency services sector, as it were. So we've got people from all different walks of life, and they have the choice and the option to be part of any club they want across London and UK, but they still join us. Now, for us, that's massive. It was a great achievement, because realistically, if you was given an opportunity to go play for a different club and get paid from it, i.e. receive a wage, or if not a wage, be compensated by way of travel, by way of goal, assist, or even be highlighted as the man of the match all over a greater platform, or join Sands United London, smaller platform, not as big and great as other teams, but be part of a kind of unified reason and cause, realistically, most people will probably be swayed towards the side of going to a club where they receive compensation by way of it. But people decide to come to us. Yeah, I know my employer's got a football team, but I'd rather be with you guys. Oh, no, I'm fine. I don't want to join them. I prefer your cause. There's so much social media work going on. Thankfully, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook has something called algorithms. And sometimes algorithm means that we land on people's page unprovoked, which is always great, because they might just land on Joe Bloggs' page, who suffered loss last week, last month, a year before, and then he joins us. We have people from reputable companies, sales directors, marketing directors of big companies who want to be part of us. Travis Perkins, TSG, these big companies. They could play for their own employees' football team or a social team with their friends, but they want to be with us. So that's where I think the kind of admiration comes for it for a lot of people. In a nutshell, we try our best to aspire to inspire.
Yeah, love that. Nana, have you got a question?
And I apologize for babbling on. Sometimes
No.
I go off on a tangent, so I just want to extend my apologies.
It's good to talk, isn't it?
Honestly, you know what? Yeah, I mean, it's really good to talk. Nana, I'd love to hear your question.
I guess you tapped on something that I wanted to find out some more. You mentioned that there's a lot of players from big corporations, big companies around you. You're doing something quite admirable, and I'm wondering why you still haven't gotten sponsorship from big people who are representing the club.
It's the golden question. It's the question we get a lot, and it's I'm extremely happy and delighted that you've actually asked that, especially for those people that are on this call, people may be listening, and for those people who may be tuning in the future. So the honest question and answer to that is kind of committing to a charity football team like Sands United London. For many corporate organizations, for many corporate partners, whether it be small, medium enterprises or businesses, for them sometimes can be a financial risk. And what I mean by that is, if they commit to sponsor us, let's say now, and they give a sponsorship or even a one-off donation of whatever it may be, £1,000, £5,000, £10,000, whatever amount it may be, whatever amount that may be attached to that invoice, what that means is, in their eyes, as I'm saying this based on what these organizations have told us, so I can only tell you what they have said, is if we commit to give Sands United London £5,000 for the year, that means in a year's time, when that money's run out and you guys have expanded expeditiously from the 50 that you're on now to maybe potentially 100, you guys are going to require another £5,000 or another £10,000. So every other year or every other half a year, there's going to be some more money that's required. That's the first part. The second part is, if we establish an actual sponsorship with an organization, i.e. they sponsor us to pay for our kits, which some places have, there are some strict guidelines and legislations in place from a Sands charity perspective, not Sands United, Sands charity, because of course they need to be licensed and regulated before that sponsor is then printed onto our kit. Because ultimately, even though we're Sands United movement, it's the Sands charity embroidered sponsor and logo crest that's affiliated to the kits. So that needs to be licensed and regulated. Now, if it doesn't fit in with the, let's say, licensee or regulations, it just unfortunately will not be signed off and adhered to. For example, we had a sponsor approach us from a famous brewery company, but SANS charity license regulation shows, because they're all about doing R&D, i.e. research and development within ways to eradicate and try to, of course, reduce the number of baby losses, brewery/alcohol and beverage is unfortunately a cause to help propel that and obviously cause a risk towards baby loss. So we can't then be sponsored by a brewery company, because then we're defeating the purpose behind our research. Of course, as well, sometimes it could be very minute things such as the company's name. It might go against the ethos of SANS or the legislation of SANS. So sometimes it's just a bit more than a company saying we'll sponsor your kit. As great and as amazing it is for us from a financial perspective, because it kind of lifts that barrier for us. Because ultimately, within any kind of football, whether grassroots, Sunday league or charity, the biggest barrier you're ever going to face is a financial barrier, which of course, if these sponsors come on board and they wish to alleviate that barrier for us, we have to make sure that it falls in line. So in some cases where it doesn't fall in line, we can't get sponsored. But in some great cases, which we have great examples of, so many to enumerate, probably could go on until tomorrow morning, is we've had cases where corporate partners, businesses, organizations have given us lump sum one-off donations to help us continue running the club, whether it's a few £100, whether it's a few £1,000. So we are in a position where we can move the club forward. Now, funny enough, if we was having this conversation 8 months ago, 9 months ago, I could have honestly said, hand on heart, we had not even a penny in the bank account, the team bank account. Now, thankfully, due to the great networking and awareness that we're having, great charity match events like the one we had at Charcoal Vets and Celebrity, even like the one we had today with the supervisor Damien Scannell, which is obviously a former professional footballer, very well known in his time, people like that. And even our next upcoming game, which is on Sunday, the 3rd of October, 2021, as it coincides with the British Gregorian calendar, we've got a game against the Metropolitan Police, which is another big one for us as well. So there are many games that have definitely been lined up that will help raise that profile. And it's these type of charity events and matches that help push our financial support in the right direction, not so much from a sponsorship perspective.
Well, a lot of information, and again, like useful information. It's kind of information that again, thank you for sharing. And I know I've kind of put up your Instagram account.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, great. Yeah, that's our Instagram account, and then the Twitter account is literally flipped on the opposite way. So it's London SUFC. That's the Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. And,
thank you very much.
And
I'm not sure if there's a massive level of drive and traffic on Twitter. I could be correct. I could be wrong. I don't know.
So we are a community that will strive to kind of help. So again, anyone that's listening now live on the replay, please kind of go on Twitter, go on Instagram, and show your support, however small. Again, like, it's not even about financial donations. It's just even kind of just to even talk to Sharif. Sharif is a very he's a forward-thinking individual. He's kind of he's kind of always got questions, and
you always got too many kind words from me. I don't appreciate it.
I mean it's absolutely true. Actually, you know what? I've got 2 questions. So because
I'm happy with the questions. I'd probably be upset.
Soak it up. He doesn't say it to us. We'll get forgotten.
And again, we've had so like we had Paul at Barrett say, great to hear a guy from Sons.
Thank you, Paul Barrett, whoever you are. I appreciate your kind words.
And we also have Hepburn Security as well.
Thank you, Hepburn Security.
Honestly, so literally, thank you so much.
Can I just touch on one thing quickly, Tabriz?
Yeah, please.
What Nana's question was when he mentioned about some of the players being from big corporate companies. Mm-hmm. Really, what SANS are doing is helping them to stay fit and healthy, mentally and physically, which is keeping them in employment for those companies. So it's kind of benefiting them, really. It's, like as if they'd go to a doctor or something. So it is a shame they don't see the bigger picture and try and invest a bit more, because they are benefiting from what you're doing, really. Because they could just be sitting at home and not very well and not working. So, yeah, I think it's a shame.
It's definitely a good and beneficial approach. It's more of an active approach, to be honest. Staying kind of proactive as opposed to reactive. And what I mean by that is they could rather be at home, as you said, sitting idly away, fiddling around and biting the nails off their thumbs, or they could be actually outside there engaging in some level of support and activity and ensuring that they're in the right, best possible place for the employer. I think it also works double-handed as well, because as much as it raises awareness for us, it also raises awareness for that employer, for that organization. Because when they put on their social media that we've got a game against them or we've made a donation for them, now all of a sudden everyone else wants to get on board as well. And some of these organizations, that I've mentioned, and there's much more that I can mention as well. Every organization has an intranet. So an intranet, for those that don't know, is an internal internet that only the employees of that organization can use and consume. So when some of these organizations are putting on the intranet that there's a game against Sands United London next week or the week after, what that does, that drives a lot of traffic to our page, because we see respectively that when you've got a game against these big corporate partners, we see this person has requested you to follow. When you kind of look on their page, the employees of that organization, or they've got some association with that organization, so it works kind of hand in hand. The two are quite congruent to one another. It's just nice to see that people do want to get on board, and it's nice to see that over the last, I would say, 3 months, when there's been high levels of activities within us from a kind of football perspective, and especially after that charity event. A massive thank you, whether he's listening or not, a massive thank you. And I can't extend my gratitude any further to James Farrow at the Charcoal Vets, because if it wasn't for him pulling off what he did and making sure that he facilitated that, and making sure that everyone left there not only feeling happy, proud, but also kind of starstruck. They met a lot of people, were icons and idols on that day. The level of awareness and the level of profile that Sands United London has received from that date to date is phenomenal, breathtaking. So a massive thank you to him as well. So much traffic, attention, traction has come our way. Even Laura herself, she's been in contact quite a lot, pushing it. And as you said, she's a prolific vanguard of the Charcoal Vets. So we see a lot of her work on social media about it. But, it's absolutely amazing.
Oh my God, I'm going to get a right name for myself. Where are the boundaries?
Thank you very much for that.
Oh, amazing.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Honestly, Drew, thank you so much. And one more question again, keep it
One's not enough. One's not enough. Make it 10.
So hey, Drew, if you've seen me play, how would you rate my football ability? Come on now, be honest.
So, you know what? I'll be completely honest with you. If you ask me how would I rate that save, 11 out of 10. That save, 11 out of 10. I don't think I've ever seen someone jump that high since the Olympics. Yeah, but I'd probably say kind of overall, you've got to give it to Priest. He's a good defender. I think the problem is there's too much height and too much muscle on there, which is obviously it's not negative, of course. It's not a bad thing, because if he was on the opposite end of the scale, the extreme, i.e., he was more surfacing, the kind of the big boned, we'd be having a laugh at him. And if he was on the opposite side as well, that unfortunately he looked like he was suffering famine, we'll still be having a laugh at him. So, so I think where he is now is quite healthy.
Once I get your details, I'm going to send you a video clip of Tabriz playing football and having 9 goals put past him when he was captain.
He kept that quiet.
No. And I think Tabriz can do very, very well. That's Tabriz for you. That's Tabriz for you. But I'll send you a video. 9-1, the same kind of goal put past him. He wasn't in goal. He was a defender. He was a captain. 9 times the same goal. Yeah. So I'll leave that to you.
Yeah. And 100%. Yeah. Tabriz is always shocking. You're always looking for ratings. 100%.
You know what? The honest truth is, if you don't love yourself, who's going to love you first, right?
Do you know what? I say that.
Yeah.
I say that to myself every day. I'm not going to
love yourself first.
Now that says that a lot.
Yeah, there's a comment from Paul Barrett. Let's see if Toby's going to put it up.
Oh,
I love it.
You've got to love yourself first before you love anyone else. And most importantly, you've got to support yourself first before you support anyone else. It's like a business, right? But if you were to establish a business, you've got to support your own business first before you decide to support others. You've got sometimes in life, and as sad as it may sound, but it's the harsh reality and it's the truth. Sometimes you have to be selfish with yourself first. Because if you don't put yourself first, who will? That's the mystery.
Yeah, but Sharif, it's also like you see when the cat looks in the mirror and sees themselves like a lion.
Yeah,
that's the
lion.
100%.
That was a scary lion.
Yeah,
that's more like a tiger.
Very feline.
Sharif, honestly, thank you like so much for kind of coming on to like the feed. And we will be speaking to you a lot more. And again, thank you for kind of talking about what SANS, like the whole organization, and again, SANS United London. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me on here. It's been an absolute pleasure and a waste of our time. Definitely a great way to end my evening. But as you've said, if there's anyone out there that wishes to know more about what we do have social media pages where you can follow us that Tabriz has attached, thankfully, as well. So if you've got Instagram, you can find us at SUFC London. That's SUFC London. On Twitter, it's the reverse. So you can be found on Twitter at London SUFC. And then we have Facebook as well, which is SANS UTD London FC. So that's SANS UTD London FC. And if you still want to, find out a bit more and have more of a confidential chat off social media for whatever reason, should you not have social media, you can also email us on sufclondon@gmail.com.
Perfect. And actually, Gregory has literally come in with a question. Thank you,
fantastic,
Gregory,
yes,
for your question. Let's put it on screen. So, Gregory, I am setting up a charity match with my neighborhood for a very good cause. I have raised enough funds, but I'm facing resistance from members in the neighborhood. What can I do?
Great question. Thank you very much, Gregory Buttocks. Really appreciate it. So, first things first, within any sort of setup, as I mentioned, kind of grassroots charity, Sunday League, the biggest barrier you're ever going to face is the financial barrier, which, hopefully with the help of your neighbors and everyone else within the local community can help alleviate that from you. But in regards to what you can do, so every single borough has a council. Within every single council, they have a community department. Now that community department, what that does, that helps work on and support kind of grassroots charity, kind of non-league teams for funding. So what you can do is propose and pitch your offer to the local council or community department, wherever you're situated, and have a word with them, explain who you are, of course, attach whatever relevant proof, whether it's like a LOA, a letter of agreement, or some sort of conversation between your team and whoever's a representative of your team. Propose that to them and can explain what your findings are. Most importantly, I'll say three main things, and this is the key. This is who you are / where you are. When I say where you are, I'm not talking about the situation of your neighborhood or the vicinity of your town, where you are in terms of your team. The second thing is where you want to be, i.e. what's that next step for you in achieving that, i.e. if that community department within your council is to help support you, how it's going to help you achieve that. And then most importantly, what help and support you require from that individual or those individuals. Oh man, that's
my fault.
Those are the kind of the three questions I would say you kind of propose to your local council and community department within it. So, if, for example, let's say you're in Woolwich, just for example, you go and speak to the community department within the sort of Woolwich or Lewisham Council, and you kind of propose your offer to them and say, look, this is who we are, this is the team. I'm setting up a charity match in my neighborhood for this date. This is the expected turnout. These are the people that will be in attendance. What I'm facing is a few resistance and kind of barriers from the neighbors within the neighborhood. Can you help support me get there? They have local funding and pots for charity and grassroots team that they can help supply, of course, with the right level of due diligence that's conducted, with the right level of supporting evidence, and most importantly, to ensure that you fit the criteria. Because no council is going to give away X amount of money to every single individual that approaches them. So you have to make sure that you fulfill and qualify first. But should you qualify and fulfill this criteria, there shouldn't be a reason why they can't help support you. So that's probably one of the best ways to do it, because that's some of the ways that we've approached it. And for any reason, if that's not successful and you're still facing a barrier, I know it's probably a big ask. And I say a big ask because I could only imagine that, these type of people are inundated with daily requests. But sometimes approaching public figures / celebrities / people of greater platforms can help. There's always someone who knows someone who knows someone. approach that individual, approach those individuals, whether it be on social media, whether it be dropping a short message to an individual. For example, I didn't know Barry until a few days ago, but I knew Tabrice. So Tabrice knows someone who knows someone. Here we are now, connected with both Barry and Tabrice. So there's always a connection. Someone always knows someone. And when, following on from that, it becomes like a domino effect, a snowball effect. Tabrice goes into Barry, Barry goes into someone else. He might go into Gareth Southgate. He might go into Pep Guardiola. Next thing you know, you've got right in front of Ronaldinho. There you are, right? So someone always knows someone. I know it's a big ask, but it does work sometimes. And I stress on the word sometimes because, as I mentioned, these individuals, I'm talking about celebrities, public figures, people of greater platforms, they're inundated with daily requests. I'm sure they've probably got 1,000,001 inbox DMs that they're probably going to filter in through. Sometimes the archaic method and approach doesn't work, which is DMing them. My best advice is email. 9 out of 10 times, a genuine, accurate, and sincere email will land in their inbox, and whether it's them, the allocated PA, representative, or account manager, they will answer that email. Whether it's to tell you you're successful in approach or unsuccessful, it will get answered. What I can't guarantee that it will get answered in a timely manner, and I've kind of found that from experience. You email someone, and you probably get a response within 90 working days. You might get a response next year Christmas, but the thing is, you'll still get a response. You just can't guarantee it'll be in an adequate and timely manner. So that's my short, long-winded answer.
Yeah, love that. And Gregory, I know that you've put in another comment. This seems to be a great platform, and it's going to be live, I believe. And you want us to review the match? Please, literally DM all of us. If you kind of literally need anyone's details, please DM the Amateur Footballer, and I will happily give you everyone's details. But
Mr. Gregory, if you're hearing this, what neck of the woods are you from? What is your setup? And most importantly, kind of where would you like to go from here? I know it's probably a big question to ask, but it was always great to kind of get the ball rolling, the wheels going, as it were. So if you're hearing my question, please do endeavor to answer back. If not, feel free to reach out to me.
Love that. Another question from Sharif, but I love that. But you know what? Thank you so much for coming on, Sharif. Honestly, an absolute pleasure, and I'm sure that we'll be definitely speaking real soon.
For sure. Thank you very much for everyone who's on this call, and for everyone that's listening as well. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. It's been an absolute amazing evening. As much as we've been speaking for the latter part of an hour, 7 minutes and 49 seconds and counting, I think the time has been significant because I've definitely enjoyed myself, that's for sure. So thank you very much to every single person on here, every single person listening, every single person who has shared, who has retweeted, who has told their neighbor and their friend's neighbor and their cat and dog, whoever it may be. Really appreciate it. And then, like I said, should you guys wish to learn about what we do, please do reach out to us. We have an open door policy, and I can promise, hand on heart, we will respond to every single DM that comes in, whether connected or not connected. So thank you very much for that. And hopefully we'll be meeting again very soon. Potentially on a pitch, ideally on a pitch. Maybe not so much on the pitch. Maybe you might be in goal. Who knows? We'll see.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Someone's lying.
Thank you so much, Sharif. Thank you so much, and we'll kind of definitely be speaking soon.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great evening and take care of yourselves.
And you.
Yes.
Thank
you.
Nice to speak to you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
What an amazing guy! What an amazing guy! And before we kind of move on to our kind of next guest, I'm sorry about what I put on before. I was just trying to find something. So, well, in terms of the kind of infamous handball, I literally got pushed from the back. I got like pushed from the back. So again, I have never jumped so high in my life. But again, you know what? It could have been anyone. So
I love it.
Brilliant.
I love it.
Wait, was he in goal then or what?
Hey, I mean, I can't remember what the score was. And again, like James, literally, I mean, he's been promoting. Well, he was literally promoting this for for like months, and there was a crowd of at least 1,000, if not more. And
it took him ages to get over it all. I think there's organising of it as well.
Yeah, and you could tell in terms of like the gulf of quality, and you could see us, a few of their players kind of shrinking back, and you can tell like the confidence was just was kind of ebbing from them. And they literally had a corner. I'm like, listen, I'm just gonna jump up and I'm gonna try and do something. It could have been me, honestly, it could have been anyone. It just happened that the ball was kind of in my reach, and I swear down, I've never jumped so high in my life. But funny thing is that the referee gave a free kick, so he wasn't even gonna give a penalty. But hey, it is what it is. But again, what a kind of wonderful guy. Wonderful.
It's for a worthy cause.
Oh gosh, it was. Hey, but actually, Nana, you should have been. Actually, I think if Nana would have been refereeing, I think Nana would have definitely set me off for that. 100%.
No comment.
So, alrighty. So, we've actually got a lot of people in the chat. Thank you to Headband Security, Paul Barrett. Is it Zuma 88? We have Gregory as well. I think Nana has to be on. Listen, we have a lot of people that literally are very excited for Nana to be on. Nana is a celebrity in his own right. But again, let's not kind of talk about that until after we have the next guest on. So and again, please like, subscribe to everyone's social media handles. Again, we have Barry from the Ultimate Sports Network. We have Laura, who's a fan of grassroots football and West Ham as well, a big West Ham supporter. We have Coach Barry, who's the founder of Independent FC. Wow. And we also have Nana, who's a level 5 referee and also grassroots.
Who's next? Is there another guest? Is there another guest coming on? Another guest?
Yes. We literally have another guest. He's been waiting patiently. We can have a goalkeeper all the way. Again, I think Sharif has kind of said it well. Like in terms of our kind of international viewing, we literally have a goalkeeper who's based in Cameroon, and he's been patiently waiting. So again, apologies. But again, I would kind of love to get his perspective regarding grassroots footballing in Africa, and the kind of influences that he sees within the elite game and the local game as well. So I just want to welcome Frank to the show.
Okay.
Frank, how you doing, sir?
Yay!
Oh, hello, Frank.
You good, Frank? Can you hear us, because we can't hear you?
No.
Frank's just smiling, mate. Frank, you're right.
No, our network is very poor.
Huh?
Oh, internet.
What's the internet connection?
Yeah.
Frank, can you hear us, Frank?
Laura, I'm laughing. Our internet network is not the best, very poor.
No problem. We will literally try our hardest. Thank you.
I can get you. I can hear you. But it's breaking.
Okay.
Yeah, it's breaking.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Thank you.
Hello,
Thank you so much for
Coach Barry.
Frank.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Frank, for literally coming on all the way from Cameroon. Thank you so much. I know that you're a goalkeeper, and again,
this is like a miracle to me.
We literally have a time delay. We have a time delay of about 10 seconds. So, Frank, I know that you're a goalkeeper. I would love to learn and know more about your experiences in Cameroon. with your local team and what your aspirations are?
I think the time delay is like a thought process of the pitch to breathe.
Okay, thank you very much for this question.
So, Frank, I don't know if you heard that my question.
Laura, you actually laugh a lot. I've been observing you since. I heard you well. And you guys got laughing there. I've been laughing and she's been laughing all the time. She looks like a very jovial person.
She is definitely. So with the question that I asked, so what's your kind of aspirations regarding local non-league and the elite level as a goalkeeper? Frank, please come on, Frank, please.
Playing in Cameroon, very difficult. You have the talent, you don't have anybody to push you forward. You cannot make it. You cannot. You need people to push you forward. I had this experience once with under 20 national team where I was asked for money, a lot of money to play for my own nation. They asked me a lot of money. So right at the moment, I'm with a club. I'm one of the. If you have ever heard of Kaji Sport Academy, I went to that rank. I'm a very good goalkeeper. I believe in myself. I know what I can do. I've been looking through all social medias. I've been scammed. Excited to travel abroad. This agent comes with nothing comes out of it. I've had very bad experiences with the poverty situation here again. To get equipment is another problem. I've gone to trials with big clubs. The talent is there. I've told me I can play quite all right, but I need somebody to push me. I need somebody to be giving the coach money before I play games. It's been a very bitter experience. I just want to leave this country. That's just it. I know I can excel out of the country. I believe in myself.
Laura, I would love to kind of get your question for like Frank, please.
I'll be honest, I didn't catch much of that at all, but I don't really know what to ask to Grace, to be honest, because I couldn't catch any of that. I couldn't hear anything.
Do you mind if I touch on that? Because I got quite a bit of what you're saying, and I can relate to that.
Yeah.
So it's very common in Africa. I mean, I only got to this country to permanently stay about 12 years ago, and growing up, you see a lot of kids with immense talent. But the poverty situation prevents them from networking, from getting the opportunity to play at a good level. So, the talent ends up getting wasted. If they get someone to push them, then, they play in the local leagues, they get scouted, and they go to some foreign country. Sometimes it can even be China, but they need the exposure to be able to get the platform that they need to prosper. So Chelsea, for example, have academies in Ghana. So many big teams around the world have academies in Ghana, and in Africa, and so many other places.
Mm.
What I would advise the Kokobe is, I know it's difficult, but try and do like a video clip of yourself. And again, so I know sometimes it does cost money, but do a high quality video clip of yourself, say match highlights, your drills, agility, your reflexes, that sort of thing, that can catch the eye of someone. Because there's so many of you guys out there that nobody will know until something comes out. I mean, if I tell somebody here, for example, that there's a keeper in Cameroon who's very, very good, they want to see something. They're not just going to fly out to Cameroon and come and see you based on just my word for it. Unless, like, I know Barry and Barry trusts me that I can give, you know, a good account of you. It's not going to happen. You see what I'm saying? So try and do something like that. Put it out on social media. You never know who's going to see it.
Yeah.
That's how it starts. But it's true. There's a lot of kids out there in Africa who need that final push to get where they are, or where they want to go, I should say.
Yeah. Coach Barry, what are the attributes that these elite clubs are looking for in a goalkeeper?
So the main thing is to leave any country and come to another country. At first, you have to be an international. You have to play for your country in a certain amount of games. That's one place you have to do if you want to come somewhere to Europe, or you've got citizenship here. Somewhere you've got the citizenship. You can't just come over and play. That's why now that there's so many top players in Ghana, they're good enough to come and play the Premiership, but they're not international. And we know how the system works in a lot of the countries, smaller countries, different countries, Nigeria especially, where people pay to play for their national team, to get their appearances and to get that recognition. So we know it's very...
but sometimes they come along on scholarships as well, or sometimes they come on
the truth is,
say, visitors or tourists for like 6 months. They play for somebody to see. They play like a trial match, and the club sees them and like, oh, this is a good guy, and then they make the extra arrangements to go back home and go and see them. I think what he wants is that exposure, you know. But it's very difficult. It needs to start. Somebody needs to see him, in terms of what he can do, before they can even think about making arrangements or helping in any way. That's why I'm saying that a good video is a start. Look at the YouTube now. Look at how many videos of people playing all around the world.
I don't know much about the Cameroon, but I do know if you want to be, you would have to play in the top level. I don't know what the top league is in Cameroon or division. I do not much, but you would have to play at the top level to be recognized here. I don't know what experience you've had if you traveled before, or what. I don't know what the route where more Cameroon players go to. I don't know, because most countries like Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, some of them going to certain parts of Europe, what will take them before they come over. I know a lot of players have gone to places like Belgium,
Scandinavia,
Scandinavian countries, and they start somewhere like that and make a name for themselves. So it can be a long journey, or it can be a very short journey. It depends. It all depends.
Can I ask a question? So did you guys say that teams like Chelsea will have like academies over in Ghana? Is that right?
Yeah.
So if it's so hard for them to get here, why? What made them do that? Why have they got academies out there if it is hard to get players to come back here?
That's a good question.
Because the best players will be internationals.
Right,
the best players will have international.
We'll get into the international side before.
They'll be playing for Ghana from a very young age.
Right, okay.
The best players will get that international. And they'll have the first pick of the top players coming through.
Right.
Chelsea.
And how easy is it for youngsters to get into these academies over in Ghana? Hard,
difficult.
Is it?
It's difficult. Sometimes you have to pay to get in there.
Really?
So I understand Frank's struggle.
I was going to say, does I was going to say to you, is corruption hindering young people's development in Africa in terms of playing? Because obviously some people can't afford to pay to get into these academies.
Well, I think he just said that you've met some agents and they did nothing.
And
did he pay those agents or did they do it for free? Because a lot of these players pay agents and they do nothing, absolutely nothing for them.
Yeah. Actually, funny enough. Yeah, I mean, funny enough.
Can you hear it? Tabriz, can you hear us?
Frank, can you hear us, Frank?
Boy, it's like
yeah. The problem here is getting the opportunity to come over. The problem is not don't dream of, but to start from somewhere, because over there it's better to start at the lower level. That's what I'm saying. The highest level here is not even good at all as compared to the.
I can't decide for a break.
The lowest level, I make a name for myself.
I can't.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe Frank should quickly log off and log back on and see if it works?
Yeah, Frank.
Just a suggestion.
Yeah, Frank.
That's
if you could.
My dream to play. I don't need to play. I dream playing the top level.
Frank, is it possible for you to log off and log back in? Or like Frank, I was going to say, if it's possible for you just to use audio rather than video, that might be better if that's possible. But yeah,
Tabriz, when you do these ones, you need to do a test before you go live. Some sort of test.
Yeah. But Barry from the Ultimate Sports Network. Funny enough, we have spoken to Frank. It's not clear, but it's funny enough. We had a conversation with Frank on Twitter actually, and it was an audio conversation, and it was kind of clear, it was concise, and Barry, I'd like you to kind of talk about in terms of
I'm
Frank.
getting well now somehow.
It just keeps going in and out.
It's coming in and out. I think what it is that I know Frank literally told Barry that he's actually paid for agents, and those agents have taken his money. And again, sometimes when you're desperate and you kind of want an opportunity, you will actually do anything that you can. Barry from the Ultimate Sports Network. I mean, what can Frank do within your network to literally get that right agent or those right people watching him? And then I know Nana said about putting out videos, etc. But is there anything else that Frank can do?
Yeah, he needs the videos, but within our network, all the agents are registered. So what you'll find is the ones that are not registered are the ones you need to sort of worry about. And like we discussed I think we discussed it on Spaces, you can look online to see these guys, to see if they're registered with the FA. I don't know about every single country, but most countries do have a register. So in Cameroon, they may well have a register for their agents, but he doesn't have to have an agent that's based there. He can have an agent based anywhere. It doesn't have to be based in Cameroon. So on our network, our agents are all registered, so they can all be checked. They're not allowed on without it. So that one of the best things I would say is check on you should have your local your country's FA. You should be able to check for your agents on there. There should be a list, and you can check to see if the agent that's contacted you is a registered agent, and go that way rather than just accepting anything that comes your way, if you know what I mean. But like you say, if you're desperate, you will do that. But you shouldn't be paying agents either. You don't pay agents.
Yeah.
If you're paying agents, there's something. Alarm bells ringing.
They're meant to be working for you, Barry.
That's right, Barry. Yeah, that's right. You don't be paying agents. You don't pay agents, but I understand in Africa maybe it's different. Maybe they have to pay them something to get something. And I think it's like Therese said, if they're desperate, they may well do that. But agents will not charge you. That's not how it works. They get you a club, and then it works from there. Then the payment happens then when the contracts are all done. It doesn't happen pre-contracts, pre-club. They have to work for you, like Barry said. Then they get paid.
Yeah. And again, apologies to everyone that's viewing. In terms of Frank's connection, that's what I'm saying. Like we literally had a great conversation on like Twitter. Again, that was an audio conversation. Everything was seamless. But again, yeah, that's maybe in terms of like the video is a kind of totally different kettle of fish. And something that we spoke about as well is the kind of influx of like black keepers now in the elite leagues now. And again, I would kind of love to get people's opinion about that.
Actually, now you say that, there aren't many, are there? And I've never noticed that now until you just said it. When I think now of all the games I've been watching recently.
Well, I mean, if
you could do it.
There's no way. I mean, You've seen
the evidence.
Shaka, here's lot.
That's one. But again, I think if we're kind of talking about the elite games, let's say Chelsea right now are probably defensively one of the strongest teams around, and they literally sought out a keeper. And they kind of looked at Mendy and said, this is our guy. And again, for like a high-profile club like Chelsea to literally sign, Mendy, that's a big thing. And also, I know AC Milan and I know Ajax as well. So again, I think I would love to get people's opinions about this as well. Is it an untapped market? Like, why are kind of these elite clubs now looking, especially in Africa now, and can also as black players now. Why are kind of black goalkeepers more acceptable now than they were 5-10 years ago?
Yeah, why weren't they? It's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, I would love to get people's opinion about that.
I mean that.
Yeah, putting him in his place.
Well, I mean,
well done.
Let me start off. I mean, I think for like me personally, I think being a goalkeeper requires a lot of concentration, and for whatever reason, they kind of probably looked at black keepers as a very erratic. If we kind of look at Cameroon in the 1990 World Cup, just
from the World Cup.
Yeah, from the World Cup, they were classed as very erratic, concentration.
Don't you think it's like a DNA thing? You're very athletic, aren't you, and fast, and you are on. A lot of teams are made up of black people because they are fast and.
Yeah, but I think people can also put us in a box saying that we're faster, we're athletic and strong, but our concentration isn't as good as our white counterparts, which is wrong, which is absolutely rubbish. Because again, Mendy's proven it, and there's literally other kind of goal like keepers now that are now literally kind of plying their trade in the kind of elite stage. But again, it takes an elite team like Chelsea and AC Milan to literally kind of
But you're talking to breathe. You're talking about Europe. Are you talking about Europe?
I'm talking about Europe.
Yeah, but what about the rest of the world? There's black keepers in South America been from day one.
But
thank you, Barry.
Black keepers in South America.
No, but okay, but listen, if we're gonna say the South American League,
black goalkeepers way back. Even at international, TV and all them.
We've stood Barry up.
Captain of the black goalkeeper. What are you talking about?
No, but
talking about Europe.
No, but
the rest of the world has been covered.
Oh gosh, I've started coach Barry. No, but listen again.
Stereotype nonsense you're going on with.
No, but you know what? It's absolutely true. Listen, do not forget. Yeah, so there was Rob Green, there was Tim Flowers, there was David Seaman, and there was David James. David James had that title, Calamity James. Like his concentration was like.
Did he play for Liverpool? He played for
England as well.
Yeah. So if he was that bad, he play for England and Liverpool. If he was that bad a keeper.
So Reece, you need to realize that the media portrays black players a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
It's simple. I mean, that's probably a conversation for another show.
I don't understand what.
It is what it is.
The keeper at Leeds, not the keeper at who's the England keeper who plays for Everton?
Pickford.
Oh my God!
No.
Is Pickford a top world class goalkeeper? No.
He's not. I don't think he's very good when he's at Everton.
No. He plays for England. How come you're not having a dig at him? So you see the difference. Oh, Barry, I like the hat. I just noticed the hat, Baz. What's that, Baz? AFC?
What's it?
Yeah, I just noticed the hat. Oh, well,
what is it? A B? What is it? I can't say. What's that?
A B.
What, you Brentford supporter now? I can't say what it is.
Brentford?
No,
I couldn't see what it was.
Oh my God!
Listen,
I call the West Ham badge Chelsea. Come on, man.
What are you saying?
No, listen. You know what?
What are you actually saying to Bruce?
No, literally, I'm like, listen, I am.
Nonsense.
It's the Barry feature. I love it. We missed you last week, Barry.
Yeah, Barry.
We need to get Owen on again. Where's Owen? Let's get on.
Oh, Owen's probably listening.
Where is he? Please come and say hello, because we're all chipping off, haven't we, soon? We've got to say goodbye. We've got to say goodbye to Bruce. See you soon. Actually, I've got to say to you, I'm going to play you in a minute.
All I'm saying now is it's actually a really, really good thing now that no matter what you say, like Chelsea
and talking about anyway.
And elite.
What's the brief talking about now?
No, hold on. No, wait.
Even to brief.
It is a good thing, but again, but like, you know what, Coach Barry, exactly what you said. Like all of these elite clubs have academies and foundations in like Africa and in the remote parts of the world, and again, unless you are playing at a certain standard, you're not going to get a look in. But there's like certain European countries where that's not the case. So and again, we always talk about and please, Barry, I'm not saying that you have to agree with me, but for the elite clubs saying, okay, if we sign an African player and he's literally of that caliber, we are going to lose him halfway through a season because that player's got to play in the African Nations Cup, and literally that is always something that people talk about. Let's not kind of cover that up. So again, there are these things so literally these are certain these are certain things that which shouldn't really matter, but but like people that spend the money, these kind of elite clubs can actually look at that and think, we're not going to sign this player because of X, Y, and Z, and Y could be because of the African Nations Cup in the middle of February. So, but like now, I think now with like Mane, with Salah, you know what I'm saying. But again, if we're gonna now talking about goalkeepers, because again, having a elite goalkeeper in the Premiership, I'm not saying that there's not any kind of keepers around South America, but if we're talking Chelsea, and an elite team that can buy anyone that they have to, they spend how much money did they spend on Kappa a couple of years ago? 40-50 million.
Kepa,
and then Yeah, and then to replace him with Mendy, who's he's from Senegal, I believe.
What club did he come from?
I think he came from Rennes, or like he was a French club. I'm not too sure, but again, that's a kind of big statement. That that is a big statement. And again, literally, I think other professional teams will now look at that and like hopefully now we will like see an influx of black goalkeepers because again whatever perception it is in terms of concentration and lackadaisical, that is like far from the truth.
Fabrice, do you think they should the African Nations Cup then? Do you think they should move that to stop that?
No, they should just keep it exactly where it is. Because again, there's I know that there's a talk about the World Cup being like every 2 years. That's like absolutely BS for me. So literally, no, I think it should be where every if it's in the middle of the season, because again, there's a dry season and rainy season depending on where the African Nations Cup is being held. So literally, it's kind of got to be in that those weeks and like months. So no, they shouldn't change it. They shouldn't change it.
Okay.
So why? What do you think of the World Cup being in the winter next year? And why do you think it shouldn't be 2 years? Every 2 years.
I'll let someone else answer this.
Go on then. I'll put that out there.
What's that? The World Cup being every 2 years?
Yeah. What is that? A good thing or a bad thing?
Like it, Barry.
So what about the European Championships and the South American Cup? When would they be played?
So why are they talking about?
It's all about the scheduling, isn't it?
I've never heard of this before. The World Cup.
I have as well. I've heard it.
Yeah. There's been talk about it. Yeah, Barry. They have.
Which idiots talking about that?
Barry Lineker for one.
Barry's got a hit list.
I know. He's after me today.
He's on one.
I'm not after Fabrice. I think Fabrice.
You're a waste of his time.
People want to hear Nana. People want to hear
about
Nana.
Okay.
I didn't know. I just found out Nana. What I heard.
Okay, so you know what? Wait, hold on, wait. Okay.
Come on, you didn't do your breaking news.
Breaking news. Okay, let me see if I can find something. Let me see if I can find something that is breaking news. Hold on, wait. Let me see if I can find something that's breaking news. I don't think I can. Okay, hold on.
Oh my God! Wow!
Okay, that is breaking news.
Right, go.
All right. Okay, so
do not open a can of worms that you don't want to go.
Okay, wow.
Let's go.
No. You know what? I mean, again, you know what? I just want to say live on air, and I'm glad Nana is online. Nana's been a huge supporter of what I've done, 100%. Yes, we have our disagreements. Yes, we have banter. But again, he's like been there from the start, and I know that he's going to be here for the whole journey. I don't know how to say it. Okay, so listen.
Oh my God, this is like a speech.
No. So again, I don't think it's fair for like Nana to actually say anything, so that she lets me say something. Nana, whatever you do in the future, whatever team that you play for, hey, like, I'm there to support you. And again, as long as you're happy, that's the main thing. So we'll just keep
really
it
appreciate
like that.
Yeah, really appreciate that.
Yeah. So, hey, like, let's kind of briefly talk about any kind of Premiership results. what do you guys think about
Hey.
yeah, that's it. That's it. No, that's it. No, that's it. No, that's it. No, that's it.
Sort him out. Sort him out, Bazza.
I like to say to Nana, I really appreciate what you've done for Independence League. I'm really saddened that you're no longer a part of it, like we've spoken. And I'm still hurt that you're not part of the club. I still don't fully 100% understand what happened. Honestly, I still don't understand because you had such a close relationship and you're part of the whole building process of the Vets team. So it's hurt me deeply because I see the work you do on and off the field. And everybody was saying, Nana puts in the work, you've given up your family, your home and everything. So for you to walk away, that cuts deep. That's a deep cut. Which you explain things to me, but I still don't, if you understand, it hurts, and still don't really get it. Because you don't always find people who are genuine and give up all their time to be and then just leave. So I still find that strange. So I don't want Breach just to skip over it.
No,
I think people still need to know that. Why you've just gone like that? Because there's a lot of rumors going on, and I don't like rumors. I don't like this chatty. Breach should just say, let Nana say what you have to say, even if it's a few words. So just get rid of the little whispers, the little rumors, and things like that. So we want to know, why have you left the club? And is it true? I don't know if it's true, but I've heard you've gone to Catford. I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard you've gone to Catford.
Right.
Let's just have the truth.
Barry, out of much respect for you, yes, I've left the club, like we spoke, and yes, I've spoken to Catford, and I will be playing for Catford.
Okay.
I don't know if it's next week or the week after, but I will be playing for Catford at some point because I'm shaking hands on it. I have no enemies at Independent. I wish them well. Sometimes in life things happen for a reason, and if my journey with Independent has come to an end, I believe so be it. I don't want personal issues to rock the foundation of the club, because we've done some really, really good work. There are things which I'm not bigger than Independent FC. That's exactly the reason why I've removed myself from the situation, because I don't want it to go on and on and on. And I think this, for me personally, for all my brothers in the Independent FC, there's some issues of trust. From my part, I feel there's some issues of trust or betrayal that has made me make that decision. And that is my opinion. That's my point of view. And I'm going to stick with that. But like I said, I do not want to rock the boat with Independent. That is why I have decided to remove myself from the situation so that Independent can continue to prosper. If I play, for example, for Catford and I play next week, because I think that there's a game, Independent versus Catford next week. If I play, I'm not out for vengeance or for blood. It's a game of football. I'll still shake hands. I'll still talk and laugh because I got nothing bad for Independent. I want to be able to enjoy my football, be happy, no stress, win, lose or draw. I want to be somewhere where I feel respected, feel wanted as part of a team. So, just to cut a long story short, that's about it. I don't think it's fair to, go into depth, especially on this platform, about the behind the scenes issues. But on record, I've got no enemies at Independent. I want Independent to do very well. I know they'll be in Division 1 in a year or two. I have no doubt, because they've got some magnificent players. Minus the breed. But hey, it is what it is. We'll meet. We'll probably meet next week. We'll talk. We'll do what it is. But if anybody needs me for anything, I'm there. Just my number. Just give me a shout. But like in life, things happen for a reason, and you just have to find the why things happen. They say my motto has always been water finds its own course. So you can go all the way around, but you can get to where you want to get. And probably being a bit cryptic, but hey, like I said, it is what it is. I've got no bad feelings. I just want to, step aside and let the team play.
To be resolved, and there's been no real remedy.
I'm more upset than you, Barry. Trust me.
Yeah.
I'm more hurt. I'm deeply hurt than you are.
Yeah.
But like I spoke to you a couple of days ago, it's something that I believe needs to happen so that the team can move forward. I'm not bigger than the club. I never will be.
Yeah.
And sometimes in situations you need to you can either stand and fight, which will sometimes not be the best decision, but in some stressful situations as well, sometimes you can remove yourself from the situation, and make that place safe, if you get my drift. So that's the reason why. Win, lose or draw with Catford, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the news. Barry and Laura, that's the breaking. That was
that's just listen. I mean, again, football is football is one thing, but I mean, again,
emotional, isn't it?
Yeah,
God.
I mean,
my head's just gone tonight.
Football is one thing, but literally friendships and literally what like people have like put in is a completely different thing. And Nana, like you will be sorely missed 100% on and off the pitch. Again, when it kind of comes to our kind of socials, everyone comes to yours. Everyone comes to your house. So there's food, there's music, there's everyone.
Yeah, so that you can come and take bags of food home in it.
100%, definitely, 100%. 100%. But
it's time for somebody else to step up. It's time for somebody else to step up. That's things happen. You can host the team. Like it's time for somebody else to step up.
Things happen for a reason.
Independent will be one hand exactly.
You might be happier where you're going to. Yeah, you just don't know.
Or I might not be. It's just what it is. But if you don't take risk, you don't get any rewards.
You know what?
Independent will be 100% fine without me. Just give it a month or so, and this will be dead in the water.
But exactly what Coach Paul has just said. We will see you back real soon.
Yeah, you see me back in an opposition shed. Yeah.
Wow.
It's all good. Like for real though. I have no qualms about independent. Like, yeah, it's all good. Okay. Let's move on to Reese.
Let's move on. Hey guys, we are teetering around the 2 hour mark. I just want to thank everyone for your contribution. I want to thank Sharif. I want to thank Frank as well. I want to thank everyone that's actually been on this feed. Just to let you know that there's not going to be a show next week. Season 1 is finished. We are literally planning a few things for like season 2. So again,
that's breaking news.
That's breaking news. Yeah. Thank you.
You probably won't have me back in season 2, but never mind.
I know.
I'm milking it now.
Yeah. I definitely have to review the panelists, Coach Barry.
I'll be in season 2.
What do you mean review the panelists, Coach Barry?
Actually,
there's no show without Coach Barry.
100%. Actually, Coach. I would love to get your opinion about the video that I did with the under 15s.
Oh, the videos. you've been really chopping that up, Tabriz. It's really, I've had so much feedback on those videos, segments you put out there. Everybody loves it, Tabriz. Excellent. The feedback has been amazing. I think Frank's one's gone to nearly, how much is that? What's it gone to now?
It's
600?
probably, about
over 500,000.
Yeah, definitely over 500,000. Crazy amounts of shares. Like Coach Frank has gone viral, 100%.
Really good stuff. I hope everybody's watched it on the panel, the clips and the videos.
Yeah, I've seen them.
I've watched it.
I've seen them all. I see everything that Tabriz puts up.
Yeah, really good, Frank. Frank was really gone. Frank doesn't like the last one you put out there,
Tabriz. I think when I was filming, and again, it's it's kind of it'd be very easy for me just to film like guys playing, but I really want to really ask you and Coach Frank questions, and I want to be as discreet as possible, and you guys were so welcoming, very authentic, and honestly, it was amazing.
It was organic because we didn't even realize the camera was there after a while. We just did what we usually do. Yeah. So it was very organic. So
that's a good cameraman, that is.
Yeah. It was really, it was a really good day.
It is.
Good evening.
Stealth.
And again, honestly, thank you again to Coach Barry and to Independent as well. Actually, I just let everyone know. So, Independent, we are now on TikTok as well. So go and follow the TikTok account. Yeah, we're in TikTok. I should have got the handle, but I don't. But if I'm just gonna go into TikTok and just type in Independent FC, you will see the page there. And again, I just want to kind of thank everyone that's on the panel. Frankly, everyone that's kind of
Tabriz, 1 second, but how did it go yesterday? You said nothing about yesterday.
Oh, yesterday's game. Yes, Independent won 5-2. Again, it was a very
well done
against Leon Stars. Again, the team played really well. We started off a lot faster than we did the previous week. I think we went 2 goals up. They scored maybe against the run of play. And they were kind of on the ascendancy, and again, yesterday was surprisingly hot as well. So literally that probably slowed down the play a little bit, but we were always in control, 100%. Nels, who's literally in the chat now. Nels is an absolute, I'd say. He's a
Rolls Royce.
He's a Rolls Royce of a player, and I would call him the grassroots Frank Lampard. He knows how to time his runs to get into the box to actually score the goals. 100%. He scored 2 yesterday, and
big up, Niels.
Yeah, honestly,
well done,
honestly, on a kind of personal level. I played the first 40 minutes.
Where did you play?
I played centre mid.
Holding.
Holding. So
I find it of the ball.
Well, of course I'm going to be very self-critical. I played okay. I managed to do as much as I possibly could. Yes, because of course in the kind of back of my mind, I had to shoot off because it was my mum's surprise birthday, so I had to get to East. Yeah, so I had to get to East London as well. So that's the reason why. So I had a conversation with Ray before. I'm look, if I'm looking to play, even if I come off after 15-20 minutes, if we're comfortable, I don't mind. Honestly, I do not mind at all. So literally, I kind of came off just before halftime, and I believe the score was 3-1 at the time. But again, but
communication is key, isn't it?
Communicate, So Yeah, listen, you know what? Like the squad's big, the squad's getting better. You know, again, there's like players now that like have to literally rise to the occasion and literally take on the challenge of other like players being there. And again, I will 100% say last week my okay, so I don't want to talk about it too much, but hey, like I'm gonna say it. Last week I didn't play last week, or I got about a minute onto the pitch last week. I wasn't happy about that. I should have approached the manager differently. And again, there was a situation where it was not unsavory, but it was something that the team shouldn't have been witness to. And a few things were said, which again, I kind of definitely take blame in terms of like starting the dialogue 100%. So again, like communication's key, making sure everyone is singing from the same hymn sheet. And just as long as the team's winning, and as long as the communication is there and the transparency is there, then literally I think that the whole squad will be happy. So yeah, it was a good win. It was a good win. Hopefully that makes sense.
Who you got next week?
Catford next week. So it's gonna be very, very interesting.
That's an awkward.
I mean, you know what? Nana, you know what? Listen, Nana,
Let's move on.
Oh, Barry, I'm gonna miss those eye rolls.
Let's.
No, hey, Therese, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No. Listen, I know, Nana. You're like very proud and like loyal man, and the person on the other side as well is a very proud and loyal person. So I know if you do get to play next week, or if you're selected, whatever, you will literally want to win by any means necessary. I've seen it on the pitch. I've seen how you play.
You're going to do a Jesse Lingard.
Nana, listen.
Yo,
Nana,
Laura, you are my kind of girl.
She doesn't even like him no more. She hates him now. Nana, what are you talking about?
So literally, I know, Nana, if you like do play, I know that you're gonna do the utmost to literally stop Independent from winning by all means necessary. Because again, I've seen how you play. So again,
it's how it is. It's I give my all every time I step on the grass.
Yeah.
So, regardless of one playing for. So if I do play, it's gonna be a good game.
Oh boy.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be
going down to Bruce. You're going down.
You know what, guys? I totally forgot. I'm supposed to be on a podcast at 10 o'clock, and it's 10 past 10 now. So
and hey,
guys, apologies.
Are you going to elaborate to the listeners
about
that we're having a break?
Yeah. I mean, listen. I mean, again, like in terms of not like having a show to
end of season finale.
Yeah, this is like the end of season finale, and I've kind of literally mentioned it.
You should have won a rap party. They're just rubbish.
I mean, hey, you know what? It is what it is. But I mean, so of course, I've kind of mentioned it to like you guys who are kind of in like the group. Again, like having like this kind of week off, not like only having a show, but just having a week off social media. Again, in terms of the mental and kind of physical strain it kind of puts on everyone around me, like myself and everyone around me. I mean, yes, I mean, like the opportunities are like crazy, and like it just feels now that the needle has moved, and honestly, like I get DMs every single day. It's absolutely amazing and crazy. But again, it's like you know, with the channel and like with myself and literally how I started the channel and literally what the channel stands for, like certain like things, like certain opportunities are now coming like my way. I'm like, wow, amazing, but I just have to step away. Again, just to review a lot of things. So again, I'm not going to be on socials. You won't really see me on Insta. You won't see me. Literally, you won't see me for like the whole weekend. You know, and again, I think it's kind of good for me. You know, I'm kind of in that generation where we didn't have mobile phones, where you had to go and knock on someone's door to see if they were allowed to play out. You know, you kind of have to look someone in the eye and literally have that communication. So, so literally probably stepping away from socials for a week. I mean, it could be a little bit longer, but I'm just going to say a week. You know, I think I've got certain like things in place already just to kind of make sure everything's cool. But hey, yeah, honestly, it's kind of been an absolute blessing, honor. And again, like the kind of opportunities and the things that are going to be happening in a next coming weeks. I could, you know, who would have thought I'd be playing on the same pitch as Jimmy Bullard? Like, that's kind of one thing. Another thing in terms of meeting John Salako, doing like another celebrity game, you know, being in contact with other brands about, you know, the like platform. You know, it's meeting
me. I mean, come on, that's the highlight.
Meeting you as well. So
unbelievable.
So yeah, but you know, yeah. But again, you know, I gotta make sure that I'm in the right frame of mind to
take a step back and soak it all in and enjoy the memories.
Yes, 100%.
And think about what you've done and things that have happened. And...
Yeah, definitely.
Take a break from Laura, please.
You know, I want to take a break from Coach Barry now, actually, because you know he's really been on my case.
You can ring me, Barry. I don't mind. I'll speak to you.
I've got to chat to Barry.
Well. Anyone?
Oh dear. So no, honestly, like you know, yeah, I just want to thank everyone for all the support. And you know, I'm just kind of looking on my WhatsApp messages. I mean, Nana, like you are literally the like talk in the football group. So again, like people definitely miss you, man. You know, good, bad, or indifferent. You know, you are like still remembered fondly with like Independent and
bro, you exactly like I'm dead or something.
Well, you know what?
Oh, he's being sentimental.
Maybe you are no.
Just mental.
I know.
Oh dear, but guys, you know what? Honestly, I have to run. I'm literally late for another podcast. So,
all
guys,
right.
honestly, thank
Hold
you.
on.
Top of the league. Oh well, we're not top of the league yet.
No. Cut it.
Whoa. Guys, thanks for watching. I will see you guys.
What are you doing?
I'm going to love you.
See you guys later on. Thank you so much.
Right.